Hey fellas. So, pre-release. Pre-release. The release of the pre's. The Grand Prix? No. Anyway. So, pre-release for Theros. It's looking like an interesting set. A lot of funk going on. For pre-release, you chose a color. And you got you got your little box. You got your 5 booster packs, and sorry about that. Moving the camera around a lot there, so didn't mean to. Anyways, yeah, 5 booster packs, and 1 pack specific to your color choice, which all well and good. Came with your pre-release card, which you were allowed to play in your deck. That's nice to see back again. You know, something they started for Return to Ravnica, continued into Gatecrash, didn't do for Maze's End was the name of the third? Not Maze's End, was it? Dragon Maze. Brain fart. Maze's End was a card. Dragon Maze. Yeah, they didn't let you play with your pre-release card in Dragon's Maze, but that was all right. You know, so what? Going back to the normal, right? But now we're playing with the pre-release card again. Oh, and you couldn't play with your pre-release card in M14 as well. But anyways, before I get too sidetracked on talking about that foolishness. Blah, 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 blah. So you got your stuff, blah, blah, blah. You got a die, generally colored to match your faction, blah, blah, blah. You got a color-specific Theros trivia thing, which has absolutely no impact on pretty much anything. You've got your lovely little primer, and path of battle, blah 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 blah, and you turn it over and it gives you the various archetypes that they expect you to run with for the 4 color combinations of your color and fill in the blank. Which is all well and good, and it sits there and says red-white is like, you know, a highly aggressive color combination, which is kind of funny, because if you go through my videos, my favorite red-white deck, yes, I have several, my favorite red-white deck is a control deck. Yeah, go fig, right? So anyways, what else? You also got your, you also got a hero card, which gets used in, I guess, pre-release and game day. I'd have to look up the details on that. I got the Warrior. It taps to give target creature you control haste till end of turn. That's pretty saucy. I likes that. It's not something that's normally castable, so I guess it's going to be something that like sits in the command zone. Oh, we're using the command zone. How dare we? You know, a couple of fun little tokens, basic lands, yeah. So I ended up going red, white, and blue. I did okay with this deck. Round 1, I went up against Fluffy, not his real name, it's just a nickname. I got game 1 on Fluffy, and then he proceeded to beat me the second 2 games. He took round 1. I got the bye on round 2, which I didn't like. Round 3, I got paired up against Mox Dave, who could not believe that I beat him best 2 out of 3. I believe it, because it happened. We ended up playing a 4th game just for poops and giggles because we had time, and he beat me with putting our record at 2-2 against each other. Then he's sitting there, well, that's what the deck's supposed to do, and blah 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 blah. And I pointed out to him, it's like, you know what, the games, you know, the games were close. The decks gave each other a run for their money. You know, so that was good. 4th round. I'm trying to remember who I played against on round 4. I'm drawing a blank. I want to say it was round 4. I can't remember the fella's name. This fella who's new down at the shop where I play. I hadn't seen him there before, though I've been absent for about a month because, you know, money issues. Can't afford to spend a lot on recreation, sadly. But, you know, I managed to scrape together the money for pre-release, which is cool. you know, I went down, played a few casual games, blah, 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 played in pre-release. It was all well and good and fun. And I beat, anyways, the kid I played 4th round, I beat him, but he gave me a run for my money, you know? And that's a good thing. When, you know, a player who's new in the area can, you know, hold his own, that's good. That's really awesome. That says good things about, you know, his ability to learn the game and the people that taught him how to play the game. Because he said he'd only been playing for like a month or so. I mean, that's pretty cool. So anyway, the deck. The deck. Okay, so I went red, white, and blue. I was reasonably okay in red and white. I didn't have anything super great, unfortunately. But I had some decent stuff. I had enough decent blue that I felt it was worth running. Excuse me. So I went red, white, and blue. So I went with 6 mountains, 6 plains, 4 islands, a Temple of Silence, I'll get back to that in a moment, and for mana fixing I had a Traveler's Amulet, which I believe is a reprint, I'll have to look that up, and a Opaline Unicorn, which is pretty solid. It's 3 mana for a 1/2 that taps for 1 color of mana of choice. That's pretty sweet. The Amulet's 1 to play, you pay 1 and sacrifice it. You search your deck for a basic land reveal, put it in hand. It's nice. Now the Temple of Silence comes into play tapped, and when it hits the board, you scry 1. That is, the scry mechanic is you look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the scry number, and then you may choose to take those the cards you looked at and put them on the top or bottom of your deck in any combination of top and bottom. So that's nice. For example, there were several times that was in my opening hand. I'd play it. I'd look at my top card. If I didn't like it, I'd throw it on the bottom. If I was happy with it, I left it where it was. And that's the nice thing about the scry mechanic. You can do stuff like that. And now that I mention it, I would not be the least bit surprised to see 4C reprinted later in this block. For those that don't know, 4C was in Time Spiral block. I think it got reprinted back in M11 or M12. I'd have to double check. I'm not 100% certain on that one. But basically it was like 4 mana. I want to say it was 2 and 2. I can't remember off the top of my head. I wish I could. But you'd scry 4 and then draw 2. So you'd look at your top 4 cards of your library, and you could put any number of those 4 on the top or bottom in order of choice. And after you were done doing that, you drew 2 cards. So, for example, you looked at your top 4 cards. If you liked 2 of them, you'd obviously put those 2 back on top. And the other 2, if you didn't like them, you could throw them on the bottom. Or you could put them further down underneath those top 2 that you want to draw. Whatever. Or if you don't like any of them, you can throw them all on the bottom and draw 2 fresh cards and hope you get something better. Or even if you just liked one of them, put that one on the top, throw the other 3 on the bottom, draw the one you liked, and another one on top of that. It's good. It's good. So anyway, yeah. So I figured I was doing okay with the mana fixing and mana balancing, blah, 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 blah. Especially since blue was just a splash color. I only had 5 blue cards. I figured 4 islands, the unicorn, and the Traveler's Amulet for mana search should do. And for the most part, I didn't have any real problems with mana. For the most part. Now my pre-release card was Ember Swallower. It's 2 in double red for 4/5. For 5 in double red, it's got Monstrous 3. That is, if it's not monstrous, you can pay that amount of mana and put that many +1/+1 counters on it, and it gains monstrous. When it becomes monstrous, each player sacrifices 3 lands. All well and good. I also ended up picking up another one in one of the booster packs, so I ran them both. Land destruction like that in this set is actually pretty interesting. I kind of wish there was more, but there isn't. Because all the times I was able to play him and make him monstrous, he basically won me the game. Because number 1, he became huge. He turned into a 7/8 at that point. Number 2, I just gimped my opponent's resource base. That's pretty nice. It's nice. You know, I've been saying for a long time, I'm fully in favor of land destruction. You know, I mean, if you can't handle being kneecapped, go home and fetch your big boy pants. Some mean person like that. A few other things. We've got the heroic mechanic, which we have on a few cards here. Basically, you've got a mechanic that says whenever this creature is a target of a spell or ability you control, well, not ability, I'm sorry, just target of a spell you control, do the blah 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 blah, and then it goes on and tells you the effect. For example, on Anax and Simidae, I don't know how you pronounce that. I mean, Theros is supposed to have a Greek flavor, so when I'm looking at some of these cards, I'm tempted to, like, pronounce, like, things a little bit differently, which is a shame because I'm not very familiar with the Greek language or pronunciation. So that puts me in a rough spot because I want to put a Greek twang on some of these words, but I don't know how. That's irksome. Longtime viewers of my videos may know, especially something I mentioned early in my 200 episode long series where I sorted my magic card collection. I find languages fascinating. I only speak English, but I find languages fascinating. But anyways, Anax and Simede, colorless red and white for a 3/2. First strike vigilance. That alone probably makes them worth playing. 3/2 first strike vigilance for 3? Yeah, I'll do that all damn day. Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets them, creatures you control get +1/+1 and trample till end of turn. That's all creatures. That's pretty saucy. That's pretty. Unfortunately, didn't really come up. I think I only played them once and they immediately got burned out. That are countered. I can't remember which. Winged Steed Rider. It's a 2/2 for 1 and double white. Flying. On Heroic, it gets a +1/+1 counter. A Crone Crusader, 1/1 for a single red. On Heroic, you get a 1/1 soldier token. Cavalry Pegasus, 1/1 flyer for a colorless and a white. Whenever it attacks, each attacking human gains flying till end of turn. Now these guys are humans, but they already fly. Who cares? Human. That's a human. There's a few other humans in the set. I'm definitely... This is a common. That's a common. That thing's going to be evil. People are going to draft that and or hate draft that. Because there's a lot of humans in this set. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Before I get too distracted, the last new mechanic in the set, you know, other than Monstrous and... Heroic is Bestow. I've got one Bestow card here. It's the Nimbus Naiad. It's a 2 colorless and a blue for a 2/2 flying. If you pay its Bestow cost, which is 4 colorless and a blue, you may cast it for its Bestow cost instead of its normal casting cost. If you do, it's an enchantment with the Aura subtype. Normally, it's just enchantment creature nymph. If you cast it with with Bestow, it's no longer a creature nymph. It's just enchantment aura, and it comes into play well, as a creature enchantment, and the enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and flying, which is funky because she's a 2/2 flyer herself. It's basically like merging her power, toughness, and ability with whatever she gets attached to. It's nice. It's nice. And when if she's an enchantment aura, if the creature she's attached to dies, she reverts to being a creature. That's pretty saucy. I was going to say something. This generates a lot of rules questions, of course. Regardless of what you do, it's always going to have the enchantment type. So, for example, if someone casts it, whether they're using the Bestow cost or not, it's still an enchantment and still a legal target for a null. Yeah, I was running 2 nulls in there. Single blue, instant counter target artifact or enchantment spell. It'll counter those. It'll counter them. So that's pretty saucy right there, you know? Yeah. Anvil Raptor is interesting. It's 4 mana for a 2/1 flying first strike artifact creature. It's alright. It's not bad. First strike and flying is a nasty combination. The only qualm I have about the card in and of itself is the fact that, hey, guess what? It's got a 1 toughness. There's that. Satyr Ramblers. They're colorless and a red for 2/1 Trampler. That's not bad, especially if you have a way to buff them. Anyway. Crackling Triton. It's 2 colorless and a blue for a 2/3. You can pay 2 and a red and sacrifice him for 2 damage to target creature or player. That's not bad. Worst case scenario is a 6 mana removal spell. Worst case. Meletis Charlatan. Now this guy's interesting. He's 2 and a blue for a 2/3. You pay 2 colors and a blue and tap him, and the controller of target instant or sorcery spell, that is a spell on the stack, waiting to resolve. The controller makes a copy and plays it, and may choose new targets for the copy. Now, obviously, you're not going to use this on your opponent's cards unless you're playing, like, you know, some sort of weird multiplayer game, like, for example, EDH, and you want to make friends. But anyways, yeah, I got a bunch of cards that'll come in handy for things like that. Lightning Strike is a colorless and a red for an instant, 3 to target creature or player. It's basically Searing Spear. Rage of Perforos, 4 and a red, sorcery, 4 to target creature. It can't be regenerated. Scry 1. Dauntless Onslaught, 2 and a white. Up to 2 target creatures, each get +2/+2 till end of turn. It's nice. Oh, which reminds me, he's not, when he makes that copy and puts it directly on the stack, that is not a spell being cast, so it will not trigger heroic. It will not. Last Breath, colorless and a white, instant, exile target creature with power 2 or less. Its controller gains 4 life. That is a fair amount of life gain. That's an amount of life gain where you're starting to sit up and take notice of how much life your opponent's gaining. But on the reverse side of the coin, you're removing an annoying utility creature most of the time. I mean, just straight up annoying. Battle-Wise Valor, colorless and a white, instant, target creature gets +2/+2 till end of turn, scry 1. It would not be worth it without that scry rider. That's pretty nice. Divine Verdict, it's a reprint, 3 and a white, destroy target attacking or blocking creature. 4 mana is a lot to leave open, but sometimes it's going to be worth it. Oh, another mechanic that's in this set, which I don't have on any of my cards, is Devotion. Well, actually, I think I do have it on 1 or 2 cards. Devotion is basically the mechanic that counts the number of mana symbols of a specific color on permanents you control, which is interesting. Interesting note on that, tokens, regardless of what color a token is, it doesn't have a mana symbol on it. Tokens do not have mana symbols, period, statement ends. Though I'd have to check to see how that interacts with copies. I really would. So let me get this stuff aside. I'm going to try and get to the rest of the cards I picked up pre-release. We'll try to start with cards that I could have played that just plain didn't make the cut. Guardians of Meletis, 3 colors for a 0/6 defender, artifact creature. I didn't care. I just plain didn't. Burnished Heart, I wanted to run. It's 3 mana for a 2/2. You can pay 3 and sacrifice it to search your library for up to 2 basic lands and put them into play tapped, then shuffle. That's pretty saucy. The only reason why I didn't run it is because by the time I'm up to 3 lands, the mana fixing probably isn't going to be worth it. And if it is going to be worth it, he just sits there and says, shoot me. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of white cards that, in my opinion, just weren't worth it. A pair of chosen by Heliod, colorless and white, enchantment, aura, enchant creature. When it hits the battlefield, you draw a card, enchanted creature gets +0/+2. Who cares? Traveling Philosopher's, colorless and white, 2/2. It's a bear. It's a 2/2 for 2. No specials. Who cares? Ray of Dissolution, destroy target enchantment, you gain 3 life. It's an instant for 2 and a white. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Laguna Band Elder. Lagana Band Elder. 2 and a white for 3/2. Centaur. Hits the board. If you control enchantment, you gain 3 life. It's alright. Ordeal of Heliod, colors in a white, enchantment, English. Enchantment, aura, enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then, if that has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, sacrifice Ordeal of Heliod. All of the 5 ideal cards, there's a cycle, work like that, but when they go to the graveyard from play, when you sacrifice it, that's interesting. When you sacrifice it, there's a rider effect. For example, Ordeal of Heliod makes you gain 10 life. The blue one, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, makes you draw cards. The red one deals damage. The black one makes your opponent discard 2 cards. I have no idea off the top of my head what the green one does. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Red cards that did not make the cut. There's Minotaurs in this set, which kind of made me disappointed. I just couldn't make room for them in the deck, because I love my Battle Cattle. Especially the Deathbellow Raider. I want to run him because that Temple of Silence generates black mana, so I've effectively got that black splash if I want it. He's a colorless and a red for a 2/3, so right there, he's looking like he's above the curve. But he attacks each turn of Fable, which isn't so hot, but he does regenerate for 2 and a black. Pair of Skull Cleavers, Minotaur Skull Cleaver. He's 2 and a red for a 2/2 haste. When he hits the board, he gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Interesting. Fanatic of Mogus, 3 and a red, 4/2. When he hits the board, he deals damage to each opponent equal to your devotion to red. That is the number of red mana symbols on permanents you control. By the way, that's a lie. In the casting cost. Each red in the mana cost of permanents you control. There we go. Lands don't have mana costs, so ignore that. Ill-Tempered Cyclops, 3 and a red for a 3/3 trample. Has for 5 colors in a red. He's got Monstrosity 3. He doesn't do anything on Monstrosity except for get 3 counters, 3 +1/+1 counters. But honestly, I look at it this way. If nothing else, this is actually indicating some positive power creep in red. Because a 3/3 trample for 4... Wait, he's War Mammoth with an extra ability. For those that don't know, War Mammoth was 3 and a green for a 3/3 trampler way back in the day. It's nice to see red getting slightly more efficient creatures. Because red's not generally known for efficient creatures unless you're looking at the 1 and 2 drop slots. Borderland Minotaur, it's 2 and double red for a 4/3, vanilla-ish. Meh. Portent of Betrayal, 3 and a red. It's basically gain control, untap, gains haste with a Scry 1 rider. That's not bad. Arena Athlete, he's a 2/1 for 2, Coulson red. On Heroic, target creature and opponent controls can't block. It's alright. Wild Celebrants, 3 and double red for a 5/3. When he hits the board, destroy target artifact. I want to say there's something very similar to him already. Probably a Keldon of some variety or another. Demolish, reprint, 3 and a red, sorcery, destroy target artifact or land. Messenger Speed, red, enchantment, aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has trample and haste. Meh. It's okay. Yeah, I'm tempted to not even say it's okay. Got me some blue. Blue. The only ones that were in danger of making the cut were the Shipbreaker Kraken, who does evil stuff. He's a 4 and double blue for 6/6. Monstrosity 4 for 6 and double blue. When he becomes monstrous, tap up to 4 target creatures. They don't untap so long as he stays on the board. Nice. Thassa's Emissary, it's a 3/3 for 3 and a blue. Whenever he deals combat damage to an opponent, you draw a card. And he bestows for 5 and a blue. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3, and whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, you draw a card. Yeah. Coastline Shimra, 1/5 flyer for 3 and a blue. You can pump a Coulson a white to give it the ability to block an additional creature this turn. Of course, you can activate that multiple times, and giving it the ability to block a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, etc., depending on how much mana you have. Fluff, who I played against in round 1, had like 3 or 4. He had 4 of them in his card pool. I think he was only running 3. Talk about getting stonewalled. Dissolve, colorless and double blue, instant. It's basically cancel with a Scry 1 rider. It's not bad. It's not great, but yeah, you know, that's more than we generally expect these days out of Counter Magic. Triton Fortune Teller is 2 and a blue for 2/2 on Heroic. You draw a card. Wave Crash Triton. He's 2 and a blue for a 1/4 on Heroic. Tap target creature and opponent controls. It doesn't untap on his next turn. It's okay. Voss's Bounty. I don't like. It's 5 and a blue for a sorcery. Draw 3 cards. Mill your opponent for 3. Whoop-de-doo. Benthic Giant. He's a 4/5 hexproof for 5 and a blue. He's a big dumb beater. 3, Lost in a Labyrinth. Single blue for an instant. Target creature gets -3, -0 till end of turn. Scry 1 rider. Yay. 2 Mnemonic Walls. 4 and a blue defender. When it hits the board. That's a 0/4 defender. When it hits the board, return target instant or sorcery spell in your graveyard to hand. I wasn't impressed by it. This guy kind of impresses me a little bit. Timrit, the Murder King. Black and a red for a 2/2 legendary zombie warrior. Calls in a red, sack another creature. Timrit deals 2 damage to target player. Calls in a black, sack a creature, return him from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty saucy. Got some black in here. Yeah. That didn't run. Read the Bones, 2 and a black. Scry 2, then draw 2 and lose 2 life. That's actually not bad at all. It's a nice variation on some of the black small draw card effects we've had for a while. Loathsome Cannibal Pass, 5 and a black for a 3/3. Pump 2 and a green, and it must be blocked this turn if anything is able to block it. And when it dies, target creature gets -3/-3 till end of turn. It's okay. It's not great. Pharika's Curse, black, 2 instant, 2 to target creature, you gain 2 life. I want to say it's a reprint of Sorin's Thirst. Functional reprint, that is. Return Phalanx is interesting. It's a colorless and a black for a 3/3 defender. You pump a colorless and a blue, it may attack as though it didn't have defender. That's kind of spiffy. I like it. Erebos' Emissary, it's 3 and a black for a 3/3 that you can discard creature cards to give it +2/+2 till end of turn. And of course, bestows for 5 and a black. You know the drill. Baleful Eidolon, it's a colorless and a black for a 1/1 Death Touch that bestows for 4 and a black. So that's kind of spiffy. Give a creature +1/+1 in Death Touch. That's not too bad. Viper's Kiss, enchantment or enchanted creature gets -1/-1 and its activated abilities can't be activated. It's alright. A second Baleful Eidolon. Boon of Erebos, black, instant, target creature gets +2/+2 till end of turn. Regenerate it, you lose 2 life. Blood Toll Harpy, 2 and a black for a 2/1 flyer. When it enters the board, each player loses a life. It's not bad. She's okay for a Harpy. Queen of the Harpies! Anyways, Cutthroat Maneuver, 3 and a black. Instant up to 2 target creatures, each get +1/+1 and lifelink till end of turn. That's spiffy. Keepsake Gorgon, 3 double black, 2/5 Death Touch, 5 and double black for Monstrosity 1. That's a lot to pay for just Monstrosity 1. But when she becomes monsters destroy target non-Gorgon. Alrighty then. I think the battery crapped out on me. I'm wondering if the battery on this camera is like, you know, it's kind of old. I mean, I've had this camera since summer of 2009. I bought it when I was on mid-deployment leave from Iraq. So yeah, so the battery on this thing's what, 4 years old now? Yeah, maybe it's just not holding a charge right anymore. I don't know. We'll have to look into that. So anyways, where did I leave off? The Keepsake Gorgon, which, as I said before, it's 3 and double black for a 2/5 Death Toucher. A ridiculously high monstrosity cost for only Monstrosity 1, but when you do it, you nuke a non-Gorgon permanent, a non-Gorgon creature an opponent controls. All really good. As I was saying before, the Pharika's Vendor is a interesting one because it's a Gorgon that doesn't have Death Touch or any other like kill something ability. Excuse me. It's 3 and a green and a black 3, a green, and a black. Okay, just making sure that came out of my mouth properly. I know I brain fart on a lot of these videos. It's a 4/3. When it hits the board, where you return enchantment or creature from graveyard to hand. It's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. Green, I just didn't want to play green, but there is a really interesting green in this set. Let's see if I can't get some sort of order to this. Satyr Hedonists, they're a cults in a green for a 2/1. You can pay red and sack them to get triple red. That's rather interesting. Leaf Crown Dryad, cults in a green for a 2/2 reach, bestows for 3 and a green. Ordeal of Nylea, blah blah blah. It's the ordeal mechanic. It's the it's the ordeal cycle. Blah blah blah. Search for 2 basic lands. Battlefield tap shuffle. Okay. Fade into Antiquity. This is at the very least going to be a good sideboard. Exile target artifact or enchantment. That's just going to be a good sideboard card, if nothing else. Really good. If your opponent's got one of the legendary enchantment artifacts or legendary enchantment creatures, that's handy because they're indestructible. Or especially the gods, they're indestructible. So it's like, get that the hell out of here. Let's see what else we got here. Hunt the Hunter, green, sorcery. Target green creature you control gets +2/+2 till end of turn and fights target green creature and opponent controls. There is a cycle of cards in the set that hose their own color. That's the green one. Green creature you control gets +2/+2, fights a green creature your opponent controls. The white one exiles. The black one is a destroy effect. The red one nukes a mountain and deals damage. Black, red. The blue one, I honestly can't remember what the blue one does. Commune with the Gods, colors green, sorcery, reveal your top 5, choose a creature or enchantment from them, put it in your hand, rest go to graveyard. That could easily have a home in black, green, and Reanimator. It's like, yep, I'm not going to choose any of them, they'll go into my graveyard. Or actually, it's creature or enchantment. That's pretty saucy. I'm going to reveal my top 5, I'm going to take the Animate Dead, the rest of them go into my graveyard. I'm going to Animate Dead whatever, something I just tossed in there. It's cool. It's cool. Warrior's Lesson, green, instant. Until end of turn, up to 2 target creatures you control gain. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Kind of spiffy. Agent of Horizons, 2 and a green for a 3/2. You pump 2 and a blue. Can't be blocked till end of turn. Second Scorpion, 1/1 Death Touch. It's nice. It's Typhoid Rats in green. That's basically what it is. I've noted before, especially in draft, a 1/1 Death Touch, it's basically unblockable. No one is gonna jump block that with a good sized body or anything like that. They're just gonna say, screw it, I'll take the hit. Really. So yeah, something like that is a great way to get a instant speed creature pump through. You know what I'm saying? Kid science, fun stuff. Theories Band Centaurs, 4 and a green for a 3/7. I want to say that's a function. In most respects, other than creature type, it's effectively a reprint of, I believe it's Redwood Treefolk? I want to say Redwood. Or is it Iron Root? I can't remember. There were so many bad Treefolk, I might add, printed over the years. Before Lorwyn Block, Treefolk were horrible. Horrible! After Lorwyn Block, but there were some decent Treefolk. Not great, but decent. Centaur Battlemaster, 3 double green, 3/3. On heroic, he gets 3+1/+1 counters. That's pretty saucy. Pretty saucy. Speaking of sauciness and Battlemasters, Mech Warrior Online, Project Phoenix is coming out soon. Battlemaster! Nesty Nass, 4 and a green, 4/5, reach. 6 and a green for Monstrosity 4. Doesn't really do anything special on monstrosity other than get ridiculously huge. Oh yeah, it's now an 8-9 reach. That's huge. I mean, it's nothing special, but that's big. It's big. Staunch-Hearted Warrior, 3 and a green, 2/2 on Heroic. He gets 2+1/+1 counters. It's not bad. It's not bad. But there's a lot of interesting and fun stuff in this set so far. Like there's a, I believe it's a 3-mana red and blue Chimera that's a star/3 flyer, where star is the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. There's a lot of fun. There's a 1/1 human for red that you pay white and sacrifice it to destroy an enchantment. There's a lot of fun running around. This looks like it's going to be an interesting set to draft. I don't really play competitive Constructed, so I can't tell you what it's going to do to Constructed. It's also going to be an interesting set for what impact it has on the casual scene, possibly the EDH scene, you never know. We'll see how it all pans out. So, there's that. Get this spliced together, get it up, blah, 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 blah. Hopefully I'll be able to make a release tournament this weekend. We shall see. Alright, fellas, be good, stay safe, blah, 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 yakety schmackety. And I decided to make a third piece to this, get it all spliced together, blah, blah, blah. Little bonus content. So I think I mentioned I took 4th place. I got 4 booster packs for prizes. So I figured I'm just going to open them up. I know it's a horribly inefficient way to do things, but I'm going to open them up. Oh, that's cute. Triad of Fates. It's a 3/3 for 2 white and a black. Colors them to tap, put a fate counter on another target creature. White, tap, exile a creature with a fate counter on it. Then return it to the battlefield under owner's control. Black, tap, exile target creature that has a fate counter on it. Its controller draws 2 cards. Interesting. Interesting. Evangel of Heliod. 1/3 hits the board. You get 1/1 token soldiers. White color, equal to your devotion to white. All well and good. Sealock monster, 5/5, can't swing unless your opponent's got islands. 5 and double blue for monsters. 3 when it comes monsters, target land becomes an island. Hunt the Hunter, I think I mentioned one of that before. Blah blah blah, a bunch of commons, the likes of which we've already seen, really. It's alright. Cute rare. Token. Oh, nice! Hammer of Perforos. 1 in double red. Creatures you control have haste. 2 in a red. Tap, sack a land. Put a 3/3 colorless golem enchantment artifact creature token on the battlefield. Yeah, that's probably going into my new mod deck. Oh, look at that. Spellheart Shimmer. I mentioned him earlier, if I recall. Flame Speaker Depth's interesting. It's a 2/3 for 2 in a red. Whenever you scry it, gets +2/+0 and first strike till end of turn. That's pretty saucy. Pretty saucy. Aqueous Farm is a funky one. Enchanted creature can't be blocked. Whenever it swings, scry 1. Nice stuff. Nice stuff. Bunch of commons that I'm sure we're all going to see more than enough of over the next few months. That's all right. That's all right. Psychic Intrusion. 3 colors, blue, black, sorcery. Opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land from the. You choose a non-land card from that player's graveyard or hand and exile it. You may cast that card as long as it remains exiled. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. It's fun. Warrior's Lesson, green, instant until end of turn, blah 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 blah. I think I mentioned that one. Akron Hoplite, Burnished Heart, blah 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 blah. I've got to mention, just briefly though, Fleet Feather Sandals, 2 colorless, equipment, equip creature is flying in haste, equips for 2. That's not bad. That's bound to see some usage, especially in like the colors with like big monstrous creatures that have no evasion abilities. And Prescient Shimmer, 3 colors, blue for a 3/4 flyer whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, scry 1. It's pretty saucy. I like it. It's not bad for a common at all. I mean, heck, that's almost on, that's pretty close to on par with the old Air Elemental, and originally that was like an uncommon. Foil Traveling Philosopher, who cares? Swan Song, blue, instant, rare. Counter target enchantment, instant or sorcery. Its controller puts a 2/2 bird token with flying onto the battlefield. Enchantment, instant or sorcery. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I mean, I just don't like it. Oops. I'm not saying it's. I mean, enchantment, instant, or sorcery. I mean, alright, it's undercosted, but the drawback of its controller getting a 2/2 bird token. I mean, really, I just don't like it. Insatiable Harpy, 2 and double black for 2/2 flying lifelink. That's a cute little uncommon. It's not bad at all. It's not Vampire Nighthawk, but it's not bad. I mean, Vampire Nighthawk is ridiculous because he's a 2/3 flying lifelink with Death Touch for like less mana than this, and he's only an uncommon. So I guess they've decided that yeah, Vampire Nighthawk was slightly nuts because he so was. Blah 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 blah. Bunch of other stuff. It's all right. Griptide, that's an annoying little one. There. 3 and a blue, instant target creature on top of owner's library. That is a huge tempo hit. I mean, not only do they have to recast the creature, but they're not even drawing a fresh card. That's pretty saucy. Pretty saucy. Alrighty. I'll catch you later, guys. Be good. Stay safe.